The sharing of biased and
False news has become all too common on social media.
More alarming, some media outlets publish these things they simply aren't true without checking facts first.
Unfortunately, some members of the media use their platforms to push their own personal bias and agenda to control exactly what people think. And this is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
Hey everyone, this is Pops, and I'm here. I'm back again. I was actually gonna do a show tomorrow, but one of my friends, he usually does a show on Monday. He didn't do it, Primal Man. So figure, what the hell? Let's get it rocking and rolling. Tonight's show is basically about the Collins elite, and then we'll open the panel up if anybody wants to come in and talk and things like that. I see Tommy's here, Tommy Guns, welcome. I'm gonna wait till a couple of more people actually join, and we'll go into the whole thing about, I did some research on them. I wrote some notes here about the Collins elite. I know a lot of people don't know who they are, and it kind of fits in what's going on today. The storyline fits what we're going through right now. It's a little weird, but it kind of fits into the whole plot of things that we see. These are, a lot of this stuff is facts. There are records of the stuff I'm going to tell you about. And then, it's up to you to believe whether it's true or not. That's all up to you guys. You got to do your own homework, dig in deep. I definitely believe that this world is being controlled by demonic possession. There's just too many things going on in order. I'm kind of looking at it like the rapture prelude. I feel that's what we're in right now. So, and what is this? Carlton. Factual pull up tonight and get some much needed panel. And Collins Elite, you foolagist. I don't know what that means. And there's Suan. We're going to change your name, Suan, to the Locomotive. Suan the Locomotive. You were so funny yesterday. It was crazy. I was cracking up. I'm going to put the link in anyway, and you guys could just jump on. I don't want to start talking about the Collins Elite until I got about 5-6 people in here. No sense of wasting, time, but I'll put it in there. It looks like we got 3 people now, so this is good. We're getting there. It's going to take a couple of minutes. We'll probably have like 10 people, and then we can get rolling. But, if you look at the storyline right now, what's going on in the world, this is going to fit into the narrative, and I'll get into it a little more in a few minutes. No, Suan, I would never ban you. You crazy? I just was cracking up. I actually laughed more. The best part, Suan, was when you came on, when I put on the video of the Cardinal when he was talking, and you were still talking. We were cracking up. Me and Uncle Gunny were cracking up. Listen, I hear you. I get like that too sometimes on shows. All right. And let me shut that down. I have the YouTube chat up, so I'm gonna switch it over so I can get the YouTube. It's kind of StreamYard's kind of a little weird. I don't know why they don't just make something where you can put the YouTube chat up. I don't get it, but whatever it is, it is. Let me switch over my computer here, and where's that chat from YouTube? Oh, there it is. All right. So let's see. All right, we got 5 people in, so let's get into the Collins Elite now. and you'll see how this fits into what's going on today. And I'll put the link in the chat too. So basically, the Collins elite, okay? And I'll go from the beginning, though, so I can show you how we get to the Collins elite. So we all know who Aleister Crowley is. Demonic, devil worshiper, kind of the guy who started it out, got famous. And, he was studying magic, all these black spells, Aleister Crowley and stuff like that. So what he wanted to do is he wanted to open up a portal. Okay, and he basically, they say he summoned a demon. Okay, and this demon came through a portal. Now, it may sound outrageous, but, if you believe there's another dimension, another 2 dimensions, whatever you want to believe, I believe the Almighty cut us off from the demons at one point and wouldn't let them, participate here anymore, because that's why the Great Flood happened. In the book of Enoch, if you look at the fallen and things like that. So I think they got put into a 4th dimension, but I still think there's people that know how to basically round them up. So what Aleister Crowley did is he performed some kind of seance or something, and he summoned a demon. And we got Tommy here.
You hear me?
Tommy, how's it going?
Good. How are you, Pops? Sound better? Do I sound better than earlier?
Oh, yeah. You sound much better.
Okay, I got different headphones in because I figured if Sue Ann's going to hop up here.
Well, Sue Ann can come up, but she's got to let me tell her, talk about the Collins elite, and then we can go into other things. But
she knows I'm fucking with her. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No problem. I'm taking my time. So what Crowley did is he opened up a portal. He conjured a demon through, okay? This is what they're claiming. And the demon looked like this. He gave a description of it, and it looks very familiar. I'll just show you quickly.
Oh, shit.
So it looks a little familiar, right? Looks like the gray almost.
Right.
So what he did is he even told him his name, and he told him his name was Lamb. Okay? Now, that was in 1918. So in 1942, the FBI, now you got to realize back in the day, the government wasn't nearly as bad as they are now. So like the CIA, the FBI, they actually cared about our country. So the FBI actually got involved. That's one of my dogs. Hold on.
Yeah.
So the FBI got involved investigating Aleister Crowley. They wanted to know what the hell what he really did. And they investigated him. And the guys that became friends with Aleister Crowley, now this is the tipping thing here. Think about this now. Ray Bradbury, who writes all these sci-fi books, became a very good friend, like a follower of Aleister Crowley. L. Ron Hubbard, who invented Scientology, right? He became a good friends with Aleister Crowley. Now, what the hell is L. Ron Hubbard doing becoming friends with Aleister Crowley? That's crazy. Yeah. And then there was another guy. I think he was, I don't know if he was a rocket engineer or something. His name was Parsons. And he got involved with him. But then he ended up taking over for Crowley when Crowley got older. He ended up becoming he thought he was the Antichrist, this guy Parsons. So now what he does is he must have been taught these spells or whatever from Crowley, and he conjures a portal up, and supposedly he gets a female demon to come through.
Wow.
But what happens is his whole lab blows up. Now, they're claiming he was making stuff with chemicals and stuff like that, and I don't believe that. Here's what I believe. You ever see the movie Stargate?
No, I don't think I have.
All right, so there's a big portal and an energy ring comes blowing out. I think that's what happened. He opened up a bigger portal and the energy, it blew him up in pieces. He lost his arm. Wow. He lost a leg. They took him to the hospital. He was dying and he died in the hospital, this guy Parsons. Now they're saying it was chemicals and he was doing something in the lab, but this guy, was a devil worshiper. He was doing spells.
Right.
So now they're claiming he brought a female. He claims he brought a female demon through this portal, and they said the portal got really big. And ever since then, in 1942, that's when we started seeing these alien aircrafts and stuff like that. Now, the alien aircrafts, a lot of people believe they don't really exist. They believe most of them were illusions, that these demons were like holograms in the sky. They make us think, they were really aliens. Because their plan, basically, these demons, is down the road, they want us to believe that they're aliens so they could come here and trick us into things. And I'll get into that part later. So in 1947, it basically really started with the UFO stuff, with Area 51 and all that, and Nevada.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and this guy that worked, Kenneth Arnold, he worked in Roswell, because I'm looking at some notes. He basically worked in Roswell, and he believed that these were demon entities. They weren't aliens. They were like faking they were aliens. And the reason why the demons are doing that, because if we knew they were demons, we wouldn't even want to know these guys, right? I mean, so the Pentagon now, here's where we get to the Russia, the Collins elite. So what was happening in Russia at that time, they had MK Ultra, and they were controlling, they were doing that, controlling the mind stuff. And we were behind. We didn't know what to do in the US. So the CIA developed a group called the Collins Elite, and they funded these guys. Now, these guys were heavy-duty religious guys also. Like, they believed in, the Almighty and all that. They weren't, being fooled, because they had ideas about these aliens. So these guys, the Collins Elite, did a lot of investigating. This was after Project Blue Book, with all the alien stuff and all that. And they came to the conclusion that these were not aliens. This group called the Collins Elite, they came to the conclusion that they were demons, demon entities. And that went on for a while. They did a lot of homework. So now what the CIA does, they finance in 1969. So they start financing the Collins Elite, okay, the special task force. And what they're trying to do, they're trying to actually thinking they could trick these demons to give them technology so they can mind control. Imagine this. They're trying to trick the devil. They're thinking they could do this and get away with it, and then just tell them we don't need you anymore. So the CIA gets involved in this now, okay? And they don't get involved in it with UFOs. They get involved with, they want these guys to go find out what these demons are and stuff, because they kind of had an idea they were demons. They even believed they weren't aliens. And how we believe they're demons, if you read the Bible, if you read the book of Enoch with the fallen, when they came down, they made the Nephilim, and then the Almighty destroyed the planet with water during Noah. But they say still 1/3 of them survived the flood. I don't know what they did. They dug a hole and went under the water. They hid in a cave. I don't know. We really don't have that knowledge, but they believe a lot of them then died. So they're still here, these demons. Now, I think the Nephilim died, but I think the demons didn't die. Maybe they had powers, like they could have, floated up in the air or something. I don't know what kind of powers they had. But if you go back to the book of Enoch, it kind of explains you about the fallen and all these things and how they made the Nephilim. And I believe these demons are the fallen, okay? Or they've made demons, like they made these little grays as demons, but they're behind the curtain controlling these grays. Because, these guys get a fallen has way more technology than we have. These guys could probably just make genetic, organic material, even make a robot that looks real. I mean, that's how smart they were. So Collins Elite was still investigating all this stuff. So they came to the conclusion that these UFOs were hallucinations created by these demons. Now, how they were doing it, I don't know. We got Project Bluebeam, right? It makes holograms. So maybe they had that type of technology that we didn't have. And they were making all these UFO things because their plan is one day they want to come down and make believe they're aliens and there is no God. And they want to say they're here in peace. I don't know if anybody's ever seen the movie V. Something similar to that, but not exactly. But the point is, and I think Bradbury made V, the movie, TV series. I'm not sure. I think he was the one who made it. So he had some inside information. How crazy is it that a sci-fi writer makes all these crazy sci-fi movies? And he was friends with Aleister Crowley. So that's a little weird to me. It's a red flag, if you ask me. So these demons want to trick the humans, basically. They want to make this like E.T., we come in peace type of deal. So the The Collins elite also was investing in these black helicopters that were at nighttime that a lot of people were claiming they seen. So people would see a black helicopter, all right? And Exile
What's
One,
good,
how you doing?
pops?
I'm
How you
doing
doing?
good. Thanks for asking. So these black helicopters, now the Collins elite came to the conclusion that these demons made these black helicopters because they could just fly around in them, okay, and nobody would think it was an alien ship, so they could do stuff. Now what they were doing with these black helicopters is they were killing a lot of cattle. Like there was tons of cattle getting killed back in the day. And I mean, totally annihilated. Like when they got there was no blood in the cattle. There was no organs.
It's like
So,
Skinwalker Ranch. I remember that shit.
Laser incision cuts. Yeah, I seen stuff about
Surgical
that.
precision
Right.
cuts. Yeah.
So this Collins elite believed that they were using this for like satanic rituals, you know, blood and organs from animals. And that's they came up with that. And they believe even that UFO, that crash was staged, because what they did is some of these demons made a deal with our government, okay? And basically they made them believe they were aliens. They didn't make them think they were demons, you know? So our government was kind of on board with it.
Right.
Now, here's the thing. I was looking at this, 400 accounts. This is how you kind of know they're not aliens. There's 400 accounts that have been written, abductions, right? So they do abduct people under the cover of aliens for experiments. Who knows, they're probing them. Some people never return. Some people do return. But the people that have returned, over 400 accounts, said that they screamed out to the Almighty God, Jesus. They said, Jesus, please help us.
And it made them withdraw.
And it made them withdraw, right. Now, that can't be a coincidence, because if you're an alien and somebody screams out Jesus, it wouldn't affect you. But if you're a demon and, he comes down and helps you out, Jesus, you got a problem now, right? So that's how you kind of know these were demons. They weren't aliens, according to, what they're writing here.
Well, I mean, in all technicality, they're not demons. They're the fallen angels. They're the parents of demons. Because you got to go back to the book of Genesis. If you look at it this way, Pops, there was 33% of the angels that came down with Lucifer, and they made it with women. That means whatever angels are, they're biological creatures just like us. They're not spiritual creatures, but they're biological in nature as well. How else would they get a human woman pregnant?
Correct.
And create
they had
the
to
Nephilim.
be biological. Definitely, I agree with that.
And that's what's returning is the fallen angels. They're slowly but surely being released from their prisons.
Yeah. Well, or they're coming to a portal. Now, there's another guy that believes that the fallen angels came here, but they made these organic grays, like kind of like robots almost, but they're organic. You can't even tell the difference. But I believe the grays are the demons, like you think. There's two different theories of it. I believe they are the fallen. So, and basically what they want to do is they want to take mankind's souls. I mean, these guys are soul harvesters. And this sounds like sci-fi craziness, but it's hey, this is what it is. These guys want our soul, these fallen angels.
I mean, if you think they're still doing God's work, they got to separate the wheat from the tare.
Oh, yeah, there's always a balance of good and bad. The devil, people think Satan, Lucifer, he probably works for the Almighty. He has to ask for permission to do the law. But he had to ask for permission to do what he was doing.
That's part of every knee will bow and every tongue will confess. You better believe even the evil ones do God's bidding. Nothing's out of God's control.
Right. And to believe the alien thing, here's another red flag. So they can't, they're saying they're probing people for like DNA and stuff, right? So for thousands of years, I mean, people have been talking about spaceships and things like that for thousands of years. So aliens, after they get our DNA, they're going to keep coming down to get our DNA. I mean, eventually they would have it. They don't need to keep coming down. So that's an excuse. They're harvesting souls. They want your soul. And the fallen angels supposedly basically made deal with the globalists. Okay. And they're going to give them a certain amount of technology, and the year 2030 is a key year. That is basically the time they gave a time frame to the globalists. They said, look, you got to have this planet under control. one religion, one government, one leader, one currency by 2030. Then we're going to come and we're going to come, and we're going to say, hey, we're here to save you. I think there's going to be some type of catastrophic event. Maybe a volcano blows up with ash and they're going to come down and save the day and say, hey, we could clean up your atmosphere. We're here to save you guys.
I think because of writings such as the Sumerian clay tablets, they're probably going to try to present themselves as the Anunnaki and tell us that they know how to save our planet. That they weren't in enough time to save their own, and we're byproducts of them, and they are our gods.
Right.
Because you got to think there's going to be certain kind of worship going on in the end. But I mean, they all have permission to do this shit. Excuse my language, but I mean, at the end of the day, if you look at the book of Job, Satan had to approach God and even ask to do anything to his faithful servant.
Yes, you had to ask him, and he said, you do anything you want, but don't kill him.
But don't harm a hair on his head.
Right. But here's the trick that they're going to get caught in. Now, first of all, a lot of people are up to date with this fake alien invasion. So when they do come down, a lot of us are going to know they're not aliens, they're demons, right? But here's the real key. They're going to come down and say, we created your whole planet. We gave you the religion we wanted. We did all this stuff. But so you would put in our Bible that we're not to trust you and that you're demons? Because if you read the Bible, it kind of gives you the heads up. I don't think they would put that in the Bible. They would put in the Bible like something, if they created, which they didn't, like your saviors are going to come one day. Why would they put in the Bible that, Jesus is warning of us of this deception? See, so they're busted. If they try to tell us all this bullshit, like they made our religions and they created our planet and they're coming back now, you can't believe them, because why would you put in a book for me not to trust you? You follow? But they're going to try to come back and say they are basically our gods. They made us. And people are going to buy into it because they're going to do, they're going to cure disease. They're going to give us all the technology. They're talking about it already, these med beds and all these crazy things that they have. Now, they're not out there yet, but there's talk in the air about it. So I would imagine these are going to come from those fallen. And they want us to believe there's no God. They just want us to believe they kind of made us, like you said.
Well, if you ever read the book of Apocrypha, which tells you about the certain fallen angels that were like kings on the earth back then, one of them was in charge of technology. So yeah, technology is definitely of the devil. It's not of God. To be honest with you, we use the devil's devices daily. We're on the devil's devices right now.
Yes, we are. Absolutely. Now, the CIA even sponsored the Collins elite to study eschatology. Now, that means basically the end times. And the CIA said biblical prophecy is a national security issue. So I think, our government and these religious leaders, like maybe in the Vatican, I think they have certain books that we never got. They're hiding the truth about a lot of different things. And for them to say biblical prophecy is a national security issue, the CIA is going back in the day, in the 60s. There's something to that. Why would they say that? And I was thinking about that, and I'm going, And what they're really focusing on, they say, is our military, to basically make them believe that they're here to save us, okay? And the Collins elite felt the only way to save our souls is to follow Christianity. The Collins elite actually wanted to make a law in America that you had to be a Christian or Judeo values to live in this country. If you weren't, you couldn't live it. They wanted to put this in law because they knew when the end time came, Christianity, that the Almighty is the only one that's going to be able to save us from this shit. Because they're way more advanced. And if you go look at the Vatican has that telescope, right? It's called what is it called?
It's called Lucifer.
Yeah, it's called Lucifer. I'll tell you. Yeah, it's called Lucifer something, I think.
Yeah, it's something else.
Oh, it's called the Lucifer Project.
Yeah.
Now, they've even asked some of the astrologers that are in there, what do you see? You know, what do you look? You know, did you find anything? And they says, well, I'm not looking to find anything. And they said, well, what do you mean you're not looking? They said, we're waiting for them to come. So
Yeah,
I think
they
the
got a
Catholic Church is tied
telescope.
into this.
They got a telescope. Supposedly, they can peer into the past or the future.
Well, that I'm not, I'm not sure of, but yeah, that's something. I mean, I even heard what's his name there, Telsa had that type of technology.
Yeah, he had it in a mirror, they say.
Yeah, but this Lucifer telescope, basically, they're looking and waiting for the fallen to come. And what
Yep.
better way to have the Pope go out there one day and say, hey, these are our saviors, and he's a big religious leader. So people may buy into this, this trickery that they want to do.
Well, look how much has changed in the last, 30, 40 years, Pops? They've been preparing to change the world in their direction for their agenda.
Yeah, I mean, look at how many people don't believe in there's an almighty.
And why? Because in the 80s, there was a big push for Satanism. Then after that, New Age spirituality. Then after that, you are the God.
Right. Yeah, we're the gods. Like, come on now, But, this is what they're focusing on. And I think around 2030, when they got this whole new world order in place, I think that's when we're going to see these demons come and fake like they're aliens. But the thing is, I don't know if they're going to do it now because, see, like I'm having a show on this, right? Could you imagine how many people are going to know like this is deception? But then there's going to be a lot of people that are still going to buy into the narrative. Like they're buying into it now, right? How many people buy into what's going on now? I mean, if you could make people believe there's something out there that's so dangerous and, we're going to lock down everything and it's not that dangerous, how many people died? Less than 1%. So,
yeah, seeing a tangible thing like extraterrestrials, everybody's going to be on board.
Mm-hmm.
There's going to be a very few standing that's going to be like, oh no, that's not what it appears to be.
And back in the day too, the Collins elite, they said these guys were trying to convince the military that you have to believe in Jesus because this is going to be a spiritual battle, and they don't want the military to, I guess, turn on the people. And when they saw the timeline when it started, 9/11, they said that's when the clock started ticking. These Collins elite group says that's when it started going. Once 9/11 hit, I don't know, but what they're going to do. They may have holograms of Jesus in the sky. Spaceships. That Project Bluebeam. Maybe the demons are behind the whole technology. But we have to get ready and be aware. Like this show here is going to make some people aware of it. But I find it amazing that this Collins elite. I didn't even know who they were. And then I started doing some homework into it, and I was like, holy cow. These guys, they were investigating, they weren't investigating aliens. They were investigating demons. That's how sure they were they existed. I mean, for the CIA to sponsor this, something has to be,
Well, you had to think back in the day when they first thought these were extraterrestrials, they made certain deals with them, is what government agents are saying. And at first, everything was going fine, but then at a certain point, they started finding out that the extraterrestrials, quote unquote, had been lying to them all along, and they started taking people, and that's what you were talking about earlier. They started taking people and not returning them per agreement.
Right. And I think they love children because you ever notice, like, I forgot how many children disappear every year, like 1 million.
Don't you hate that when you lease your child out to an alien and they don't return them on time?
I like this guy. I've seen him once or twice around the place.
Could you imagine leasing out your kid? Here you go. You can have my kid. Just give me, a cure for whatever. But there are people, these satanic worshippers do sacrifice their children.
Yeah. I heard some of them get pregnant and hide away from the public until they have the child and then sacrifice it.
I mean, what are the odds? You go into Hollywood, right? So you got a couple of 100 famous actors. And what's the odds are 20 of them all lost their child at a young age, like John Travolta, Bill Cosby. Like, we could just keep going on with the list. What are the odds of that? I mean, out of, like, say 200 actors and 20 of them had their kids die at a young age. That's not mathematically.
I know well
sound.
over 200 people, and I only know maybe a handful of people that's
Right.
lost a child.
In my whole life, I know one family that actually lost a child, and I've met 1,000 people in my lifetime.
Now, what level of fame do you have to be to give up your kid? Is this like A-list only, or does this include B-list celebrities?
I don't know, because some of them B-list celebrities are pretty fucking good.
Yeah, and then they move up the ladder once they do that. Once you make that sacrifice, I think you kind of sell your soul to the devil. Think about it. If you sacrifice your child to Lucifer,
and B-list might be their test to, you know, here you could do some acting, but you ain't gonna be around long unless you agree to these terms.
Yeah. And even with the cattle, you know, when they first said was sacrificing a lot of cattle, because I think back in the day, if a lot of people started disappearing, when actually maybe the governments did care a little bit, it would have been a red flag. In 1934
to 87, they were too, like crazy.
In 1934, they got a thing called Project Sigma. And they found somebody seen like a spaceship above a hog. And then when it was like a shiny spaceship, and then it disappeared. And when they went there, the hog had no organs and no blood. They were like freaking out. And then they made a whole group to investigate all these cattle and all these animals that were getting like drained of blood and organs. Like, that's not even possible. It was like they got hit with a laser beam or something. So, I mean, I'll tell you one thing where I definitely believe that the fallen live in Antarctica, somewhere over there. Because there's nothing in Antarctica that makes any sense to me other than they're hiding a piece of land, I think, to begin with, like a little.
Well, if you know the geology of Earth and you know biblical history, a lot of them are out there. But they are located all over the Earth. So when they start rising out the ground, you're probably standing on the land somewhere where they're buried.
But if you notice in Antarctica, like some of these politicians all end up like that guy Carey there, whatever his name was, I think he took a trip there for no reason. Like, why are politicians going there if nobody's allowed to really go there and investigate? What is there?
It's the Masonic sex orgies, pops. You know, they're trying to separate themselves from the Bahamas vacations, so they're going down for some, you know, pokey nipple sex orgies down in Antarctica with the polar bears.
Or maybe they're going.
Well, how do we get on that list?
You know, the succubus, like the girl with the whip. Maybe
wait. He made me interested. How do we get on this list?
It's a referral basis only, and I haven't known you long enough to refer you yet.
Oh, but I do know a guy that can refer me. Good news.
He thought I didn't know who he was. I just really, like, about 5 minutes ago, I realized his voice. But you're good.
I let him play his character. I'm just surprised he didn't come up with the character voice.
Oh, he's good.
Oh, yeah.
In the beginning, he did the voice good, but then I heard his voice later on, and he gave himself up, Josh.
He's funny. He's funny enough for me to constantly catch hell on fucking Tonic's panel.
He has his own show. He's real good at what he does. And
stop it.
Yeah, he's good at what he does.
I don't let the trolls chase me off, though. I go into the troll den.
You know, there's a lot of other stuff. There's a guy, Ray Bashi, that talks about all this Collins Elite stuff and all this. I know we find this hard to believe, but if you look at the way the planet's going, the narrative, who's controlling this thing? I mean, this thing is crazy what's going on out there. And then, go ahead.
No, I don't like, normally if I heard your show and what you're talking right now about the elite and demons, I'd be like, yeah, there's no way that exists. But 72 hours ago, I had the guy that took down Escobar on my show telling me how the CIA, to improve a asset's credibility, arranged and then trafficked over 7 tons of cocaine into the streets of New York City. So, I mean, I'm open to it.
Well, in the 80s,
you didn't hear about that years ago?
Was doing cocaine. In the 80s, half the country was coked out. That's why we were so productive. I'm telling you, I know. I lived it. Everybody. They flooded us, and a lot of it went through Miami, but they did flood New York.
You ever kick in some doors on some of them 80s crack bust?
Not me. Basically, listen, I was
Come on, Pops. We needed an exciting job.
How about you want to hear what type of cop I was?
I want to hear you was like Hawaiian 5-0.
No, I was the opposite. I go down in the train station, right? Because you had to inspect the platform sometimes. There's a guy banging bumps up his nose, and he had a little vial, and he's banging them up his nose, right? And he don't see me. I walk up, and I stand above him in uniform, and I'm waiting for him. And about 2 minutes later, he looks up, and he just goes, oh, and he throws the shit up in the air. The vial, everything. He had a little spoon, and it goes.
Pops, you're the shit. At least you let him get his bumps off.
Yeah, and then I didn't even bother him. I'm telling you, I looked at him, and I went. And I walked away. I didn't even care. Pick it up, go do it. I just walked away because I don't want to stand there and not arrest them now if people are watching, But I didn't care. Like, come on.
The moral of the story is
just put him on his toes.
After Pops did that, I said, thank you. That would have been my third strike, and I walked home happy.
Oh, so you're the kid he put on the toes. Okay.
I didn't believe in bothering people for, like, stupid shit, I just didn't. I wasn't buying into that,
If he would have took that bump and pulled out a gun to rob somebody, you'd have busted his ass.
Yeah, well, we couldn't do. You really couldn't. It was hard to do drugs if you were a cop back then because they would randomly. You would go into work and you would just get handed a slip, and you had to go take that piss down.
Oh, it's still the same way at a lot. It's still the same way at a lot of places.
Yeah, and believe me, there were times I wanted to do it because when I was younger, I was partying all the time, but I wouldn't do it for the fact. Only one fact: I didn't want to be embarrassed with my family. I couldn't even imagine getting fired for something like that. I would be like, I would lose face, But they used to test us all the time. And one time I was getting like harassed. Like they were making me go take the test like once a month. And it's like, maybe you're lucky if you get called once a year. So I went to my captain. I said, is there a problem? Because they keep making me go. He goes, I don't know. Let me look at it. So later on down the road, he comes back. He goes, yeah, they had the wrong guy. I had the same last name as me. He said they were actually going after somebody else. I said, oh, okay. I didn't care. But that's when they want to get you, they'll get you, any job you have, especially with the city. All they got to do is transfer you far away where you got to travel. Like when I worked, I lived in Staten Island. If they wanted to really give it to me, they're going to station me in the Bronx. And it would have took me 3 hours to go to work. I probably would have had to quit at that point. Or move to the Bronx. One or the other. Yeah, but if you would have told me this story about all this stuff I'm talking about now, I would have told you you're insane. There's something wrong. Like, people used to tell me, get the hell out. You're a lunatic. You're a conspiracy guy, right? And still, I don't know if this facts are true, but here's the thing. What's going on in this world right now, I got to believe this is some kind of spiritual battle going too, because I find it hard to believe that 220 presidents of 220 countries are all on the same page. I mean,
and this includes countries that are at war with each other right now.
Right. So how do you get that all to work? That guy Schwab there, whatever. What did he corrupt everybody? Do you know? I was watching a video and he admits that he has half of Canada's cabinet bought out already on the video. And you could go watch this stuff. You could actually go on YouTube and Google, and it'll pop up. It was like a World Conference or something. And Schwab was there, and he goes, well, we have some great leaders, like he brought up Putin, and he brought up the leader of Argentina. And then he says, and we got some young leaders, like Trudeau. And this was going back 5 years ago, I think he made this speech, Schwab. He goes, and, Canada, we have half their cabinet bought out already. Like, that's why you see
I could believe it. They had China and Russia training on their land. They had China and Russia training on their land. So I believe it, which means Canada sold us out yet again.
And they're doing everything. You even looked at it. They had 4 horsemen. 4. Later on, they show you more horses. But in the beginning, they show you 4 horsemen. So the apocalypse, right? 4 horsemen. And they ride by these people and they start running them over, the cops. And they don't even give a shit. And they weren't going anywhere. They weren't making arrests. They weren't crowd controlling. It was like they were at a parade and they just walked by them with the horse and they were Clydesdale. Like, where do you get fucking
And on the Super Bowl, they had the weekend with that last Super Bowl, not this one that just passed, but with that motherfucking shit showing that Satan's coming down.
Yeah, and how about they all get black eyes?
Yeah,
Like
all the celebrities, the main ones, the big ones.
Yeah,
I know you're not all getting in the fist fight with people and shit.
I've gotten into 100 fights as a kid. I've actually had green lumps in my head. I've gotten beat. I never even got a black eye. How is it every celebrity's got black eye?
It takes a pretty fucking tough fight to catch a black eye.
Right.
I think that they all have black eyes because they're all dating Johnny Depp.
Johnny Depp was one that had a black eye.
Yeah. But like,
so Johnny's
satanic shit going on out there. You have to believe some of this shit is true. It can be 220 presidents are all doing. I think they're like kind of like the demons are in them, and they don't even know. They're like in them, possessing them. Well, maybe they're doing like some kind of telepathy shit through their brain, like I'm making them think this shit. Because I can't see 220 presidents all being on the same page. And I forgot who brought it up. Said, yeah, they're even fighting each other when they're on the same page.
Yep.
So something's got to be to this, this fallen and all this shit and this alien. I mean, if they try to fake this alien invasion, there's so many people that are on it. I don't even know how they're going to get away with it. They may have to change their plan. I don't know what they're going to do to present these demons to us and say they're from another planet to help us. I think you hit it though, Exile. They're gonna come looking like the Anunnaki, where they're like, you ever seen the Anunnaki? They show you pictures that like,
because their whole story puts them as our creators, and there was a bad guy side, and there was a side that wanted us to live, and a side fought for us to live, and they won. So if they won, they'll try, and they live hundreds upon hundreds of thousands of years old, supposedly in the Sumerian clay tablets, so they can play it like, yeah, we're the exact ones that saved you.
Right? It's crazy. I even watched some shows. There's this guy. His name is Scott McKay, right? And he's like this guy called Patriot Street Fighter. And he claims he gets all this information from all these secret sources, and he can't reveal his source. And he was on that whole Q bit, and he blew up because he was giving everybody what they want to hear. So I think it was controlled opposition. I don't think I think maybe the guy is a good guy, but I think they were fooling him, and they were sending him like all this shit. And he was going online, man. He blew up. The guy's got like 1 million followers.
Oh no, they say Joe Rogan is now the Illuminati's new head puppet as far as spokesman.
Yeah, well, I think they control the opposition.
I wonder if he blew it with that whole N-word rant stuff.
I don't believe everything. Like, even with Joe Rogan, they say him, and not Joe Rogan, Alex Jones. I mean, Alex Jones has been screaming and hollering about all this shit. 6 months ago, Alex Jones was going, they're going to get you. They're going to force you to do all this stuff. They're going to make you get a pass. You're not going to be able to buy food. And he was going crazy and going, ugh! And everybody thought he was nuts. Guess what happened to Canada? It happened.
Well, see, the thing is, Alex Jones is right a whole lot of the time. Plus, he's gotten in places where he wasn't supposed to. They don't like that guy.
Yeah. And then he goes, they're going to build camps. They got all these camps built up. And guess what happened in Australia? Camps. And they're building them here. We got more FEMA camps. The United States can house 50 million people in camps.
I bet there's people already in them camps, and we just don't know it.
Oh, now they want to say, I don't know if you heard about this. I was reading it in the Department of Homeland Security. They want to get a bill passed where if you speak anti-government, they can come get you and basically arrest you as a terrorist, which means you have no rights. They can just come grab you and put you in a hole, and nobody knows where you are. You can't even get a lawyer.
Yeah, we're not a communist country. Fuck
right,
that.
But that's what they want to do. When they pass shit like that, it's game over. I mean, could you imagine you can't even go on YouTube and talk about bullshit like that we're talking about? I mean, they're gonna try to do it. I think. I mean, how are they gonna stop guys like us from talking? They're gonna have to put us in jail. But I mean, I don't even think in Germany it was that bad where they were doing. I mean, like this is crazy what they're trying to do. I mean, where's our constitutional rights
But
anymore? Do we really have
but
them?
they'll put us in a jail separate from everybody. They're not gonna want us in jail with others that'll eventually be released and tell what we tell them.
Oh yeah, maybe they want to put us in Guantanamo Bay. We'll all be over there getting waterboarded.
I was gonna say I'll go to Guantanamo. That chick can put the cone on my head, pee on me, and beat me.
Or
Whatever
because
the
there'll be
case
no
is.
due process to it, they'll ship us off to some foreign country.
Well, we're already there. I mean, they have the Patriot Act. I mean, the Patriot Act allows that. It's not like some new law that's going to be passed. Just most people don't know the intricacies of the Patriot Act. All they're doing is they're clarifying the verbiage that's already within the Patriot Act. I mean, as of right now, they can come pick you up. They can take you and they can withhold you and suspend your constitutional rights.
Yeah, they're just wording it now where, people are going to say, oh, okay, now you're not allowed to do that. So that's why, I mean, they're just rewording it a little better. Make it clear.
Well, I'll be right back. I got a phone call. Sorry, I'll be right back.
Yeah, so this is what's going on. And if you really look at everything, it's going in chronological order. People go, it's always been, they've been talking about, Revelation and all that. And it's come. I think we're in the prelude. I don't think we're there yet. I'm thinking about, I would say maybe, I think around 2030s when the Antichrist is going to expose himself. And I think it's going to be an alien, maybe in human form. They got the technology. They can do whatever the hell they want. One of the fallen maybe, and an organic human body or something. I don't know. I mean, you ever seen the movie V where they were like lizards and they had like human skin and they looked real and then they peeled the skin and it was a lizard underneath. I mean, I don't think the fallen look like lizards. I think they look like those grays. And maybe there's tall ones too, So who knows? They could put some kind of like fake skin on it. And I think around close to 2030, I think all the shit's going to hit the fan. And, I think we're going to go into tribulation around 2026 and, 2027, because you need 3.5 years of real like devastation, pestilence, no food. It's going to be it's going to be real uncomfortable. And then 2030, the Antichrist comes on the scene. And then 3.5 years later, boom, the end, it's got game over or whatever, 7 years later, how it's going to work out. But I think there's something to this 2030. Something's up with that year. They're pushing for that year, and I think they got to get this done by 2030. That's the main goal. You're going to have to destroy America real quick.
I'm just hoping some stuff changes and turns it all around and stops it.
I believe the only way it's going to change is if the Almighty wills it to change. Because if He said it's going to happen, it's going to happen. He can will whatever He wants. I mean, He could just, with the blink of the eye, kill every evil person on the planet if He wanted to. I don't know what His plan is. Is He testing us? Is He harvesting all the good apples? And He's going to start all over with the good people and get rid of all this, all these evil people that'll sell their soul. I don't know what His plan is, but all I know is I think that's the only way out. I think if He said it's going to happen, how is it not going to happen? If I'm Him, I'm looking at this right now. If He came down right now and blew the whole planet up, I wouldn't even blame Him. Look at all the shit that's going on. How evil people are.
I agree with you. Just how many children we find out are victimized in this day and age.
Yeah, that's the only thing I can't. You want to sit back and go, okay, well, like you said, how many children have gotten, victimized over the years? This has been going on for a long time. So you say, well, why did He allow all that? But I don't know. Maybe when these kids do die, He just brings them right up. I mean, I don't know what His plan is. Maybe in the next life, when we're spiritual, all of them kids are going to be rewarded. Or, I mean, maybe they're bad souls from the past. I mean, if it is reincarnation, there could be a lot of different scenarios, but we can't understand His, who can understand the Almighty God?
I mean, we were in a thing, according to certain scriptures that were hidden from the Bible. We were in a thing called the Guff in heaven. And pretty much we were living spiritual lives, but living experiences that we could live on earth. So we decided exactly the life that we wanted to live.
Well, I don't know. Whoever, if I was up there in the spiritual form, I definitely didn't decide this is the life I wanted.
You never know. I mean, I would think the same thing about my life, some of the pains, the sorrows, the
Mhm.
losses, the complete falls and rebuilds. I mean, but who knows? On a spiritual level, you probably know a lot more than you know in your limited experience here on earth.
I agree. I'm contemplating if this is really like hell. Not that, I don't know. Is there really a hell? I mean, I would imagine the Almighty, when he does come down and passes judgment, I think the hell is going to be you never exist anymore. Or he puts you into some kind of fire or something. I mean, but I don't see him doing that. I just see him saying, hey, you know what? You're no good, and that's it. That's your hell. You're never gonna exist anymore. You're dead forever. And people like us, maybe, we're gonna live, we're supposed to be immortal one day, whether we're in a spiritual form or whatever, we're not gonna die. So that'll be great. I think this is the testing ground though. In my mind, I'm saying we're all being tested for some reason. He's cherry picking. And yeah, that's why he sent the sun down, I think, because a lot of us weren't going to make it unless his son came down and shed blood for us. I think his son kind of said, Dad, you can't kill all the Gentiles. You got to give them a shot too. You got to, grandfather them in, I forgot what the word they use. But I think that's what happened, and he came down to save a lot of us, if you're a Gentile. I mean, I don't know if I'm from the tribe of Israel or a Gentile. I don't know what my DNA says.
Well,
But,
that's the sad thing with people being scattered all over the earth. It's hard, and in some people's cases, impossible to find out.
yeah,
But
especially, a lot
that's
of
a good
people.
thing
Yeah.
about the fig tree of the Gentiles being able to be grafted in with the fig
Grafted.
tree of
There you go.
Israel.
That's the word I was looking for. Yeah, I mean, I'm from Sicily, my family, so I may have those genetics, but I don't know. And either way, I feel I'm going to get there anyway, whether I'm a Gentile or from one of the tribes, the 12 tribes,
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens. But yeah, I find this falling into place. I mean, shit, what do we do when we see a fake alien invasion? I mean, they're going to do this. They're going to try to pull this shit off. But it definitely makes sense the way you're saying that, Exile, with the Anunnaki and all that, because there's a lot of history behind all that. Like even the
If they
Egyptians.
do, no matter how they do it, I don't see us being able to stop it, honestly.
No, I don't think we'll be able to stop it, but that don't mean me and you are going to buy into it. Like, But let's say they have these beds. Now, these med beds they have, right? They're claiming that these med beds could cure almost every disease and actually even make you younger. Now, if they come down with these med beds and I can make myself look like I'm 25 again, do I go in there? I mean, is that selling my soul or is it not? Now there's other decisions you got to make. Like, shit, I would love to be 25 again. But I think when you get in that med bed, they're going to put shit in you to change your DNA. And once they
Yeah.
change your DNA, you lose your soul.
Well, a lot of people don't understand why the flood of Noah happened was because when women were sleeping with fallen angels, they was changing the DNA structure of the human itself.
Right. It's true.
And that's what truly angered God.
Yeah. Definitely, I agree with that. And they found skeletons of all different Nephilims and things. They found that stuff already. They've been hiding. They're hiding so much stuff. I wouldn't be surprised if they found stargates or something. Who knows what they found? But even the Egyptians were drawing pictures of spaceships and stuff. But I think those were just like chariots or something. Like them coming down in like some kind of vehicle. I mean, if you think about it, if the fallen are basically stuck on this planet, okay, and they're in a body like a flesh organic, because there's no other way they can impregnate those women unless they were organic. They couldn't be spiritual. Maybe they did build spaceships that they could fly around in because they couldn't they no longer were a spirit. Where I guess maybe a spirit could just float and fly around like Superman. I don't know, but I would imagine that would
Well,
be the
they got to
reason.
be called fallen for a reason.
Right. So they fell, and I think they built some of these ships. That's why the Egyptians, even some of their things, you show, ships and stuff. And those pyramids, there's no way they built them. So the fallen had to help them out with that. That stuff we can't even hardly. I don't even. They say that we have a hard time building those pyramids today. The way they're precise too. Like they said, there's certain you can't even stick a piece of paper through the cracks. That's how precise they are. So you got to know that there's no way they could have built that if we can't build it now. But maybe they had a lot of technology back then and they're hiding that too. Who really knows? I mean, they found stuff like batteries back in Egypt and all types of things. They found all these like inventions that they never talk about. So maybe they were more advanced than we think.
I would definitely say so.
Yeah, I think the fallen, like I think Caesar had a connection with one of them. Nero, especially.
Well, the ancients' math is more advanced than our math. So, I mean, if their math is more advanced, I would have to assume that if we use math to create technology, their technology was more advanced as well.
Yep. I wasn't even paying attention to the chat, by the way. But Antichrist is already here. I believe that, definitely, but I don't think he's let himself known who he is yet. I have a few ideas who I think it is. They say, though, now with Babylon, too, like Babylon, a lot of people are saying America is Babylon. And now there are a lot of people saying, no, it has to come from the Middle East, somewhere, the way the Bible describes it. They believe it's in, like, Iraq, at the tip of Iraq or the tip of Iran or something.
Well, Iraq
it has
is
to be a coastal city.
Iraq is where Babylon was,
right?
The original Babylon.
So, I mean, would that be where supposedly Babylon now? Some guys believe it's America, and then some guys believe Babylon ain't even built yet. So when the Antichrist comes,
I think what you're saying is the guys that believe that America is going to be the new Babylon.
Yeah, the mystery Babylon. That we're the
the mystery Babylon. Yeah, which doesn't necessarily mean it's the same land that the original Babylon was.
Right. But there's some people saying that the mystery Babylon is not even here yet. There's going to be a city that the Antichrist builds during his realm, and it's going to be the most modern city you've ever seen. It's going to be out of control. Like,
well, so far that would be Dubai. Dubai's the one known for doing that.
Right. So could you? And they say it has to be a coastal city. So it's not even talking about a nation. When they say mystery Babylon, it says a coastal city.
Dubai is a coastal city.
Correct. But it's not like the whole, New York would fit. New York City would fit it, the mystery Babylon.
Yes, it would. And the symbology of that damn Statue of Liberty.
Yep. But people think all of America is going to get, he basically said, I'm going to destroy mystery Babylon. Nobody will ever inhabit it again. That could be New York City. So New York
could be nuclear fallout.
Yeah. Let's see if anybody got any questions. Am I a villain? God, if I feel my spider senses tingling and I just land in my web, or are you not into archinids? What the heck's I don't even know what that word means, to be honest. Maybe you could speak a little better English. I don't know. Do you know what that word means, by the way? Archinids? Is that like a race or something? Who knows?
I'm not aware.
Me either, right? I've never seen that word. So maybe hose. What is that? Hydro hose? Maybe you could explain that word to us. The word is going to make the world is going to make the blueprints. I'm a little confused.
When I read the Sumerian clay tablets and got an understanding from that and comparing the Torah to it, I was like, oh yeah, definitely the ones in the Sumerian clay tablets are the fallen ones trying to make you believe that there's something else. And then I
Crazy.
was easily, by the technology they use, able to interpret, oh yeah, these are the ones that call themselves extraterrestrials.
I got you. And Uncle Gunn said arachnids mean spiders. Thanks. I didn't know that. But we got a question here, Exile. Maybe you want to go first, and then I'll give you my opinion. Do you believe in purgatory?
I don't really believe in like a purgatory, say, as in you're judged not heaven or hell, but I believe what they're describing as purgatory is when you die, there's a place that all souls are held until Judgment Day. Apparently, we're all going to be judged on the same day, and this place is kind of like referred to as paradise. And we stay there until we await our trial.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to consider purgatory a place that when we die, we're basically going to be asleep. And when we wake up, it's going to feel like it was yesterday, but when we're getting judged. So even people that died 1,000 years ago will be judged. And it's going to supposedly be all at one time, which is wild to even think that everybody's going to be like there all at one time, waiting to be judged.
Man,
but I don't
just
believe in
imagine
there's a
how
purgatory.
big that line is going to be.
Oh, yeah. But I don't believe there's a purgatory where actually people are like alive spiritually, like, and they're floating around waiting. I don't believe that. I believe maybe purgatory, like Exile said, it's kind of like just a place where we're all sleeping. We're taking a dirt nap. So that's what I believe. And what do you say? When I die and disappear, I come back to your ears. I don't know. Hydro hose. I don't know what the hell you're talking about. And how's it going, Crazy Frenchman? Yeah, so, I mean, it's just a lot of, I think, though, people just got to realize one thing. What's going on today, there's a lot of, this is, I think, a spiritual war more than it is actually just men being greedy and trying to take over the planet. I mean, you know, this planet's been around a long time. This has never happened where there's new one world order ever. They tried it. I think World War II, they were trying it with, you know, with Charlie Chaplin from Germany. But it never succeeded.
Daddy Bush was gonna try it too, but as soon as he even brought it up as a subject, that got shot down real quick.
Right. So, but even go back 500 years, I mean, I really believe they even tried it with Rome back in the day. They were trying to take over the planet, but it just never, it's not possible, I think, with
Alexander the Great, Napoleon.
Right. I think you need assistance from a spiritual being, and that would be, you know, Lucifer. So I think that's the only reason why, even though we have the technology, I still find it hard to believe that you can get every single country on the same page without some type of spiritual assistance, especially like demons that could possess some of these leaders. I mean, you ever look at some of these leaders? Their eyes were blue 5 years ago. Like, I look at Biden, he had blue eyes. Go look back in the videotape. Now his eyes are black.
I'm truly not going to like believe that it's going to start off malicious. I believe at first they're going to win over the majority, and then after they win over the majority, they're going to go after the minority.
Yeah, I think right now they're going to make it really uncomfortable and miserable for everybody, and then somebody's going to come and save the day. And everything's going to go back to like even better than normal. We're all going to be prospering, doing well, and then all of a sudden, boom, they're going to hit us again, but it's going to be super evil when they hit us with it. Like, I don't know if it's going to be world wars, but something's going to happen. You know, a perfect example would be, imagine Donald Trump, and I voted for him, pick your poison. But imagine him coming back, flipping America around, making it, you know, back to what it was, America first. And then after he's done with America, start meeting world leaders and changing the game, okay, with the world leaders. And now all of a sudden the earth looks like it's back to normal. And then all of a sudden, boom, something happens, right? World war, something. And America would back up a president like that.
And Trump was amongst the high order of Jesuits. Not to mention he does have Jewish lineage.
The Scottish order is very high up there. And Imagine him now flipping the country back to what it was. And now he says to the people, 3-4 years from now, hey, we got to go to war with whatever country, Russia, China. America's going to be like, yeah, let's go, 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 go. He's going to have everybody on his side. They're going to rally behind him because I don't know if he's the Antichrist, but they say the Antichrist is going to be loved by everyone. So that's like kind of an example. I'm not saying it's him, but that's kind of an example what I'm trying to bring out. Somebody's going to come and save the day and make us all feel, peace and secure. Once you hear that word, peace and security, game over, man. That's it. It's starting. It's rocking. And that's what's going to happen. And a lot of people, I mean, look, if they could get you to wear a mask for 3 years, they could get you to believe in anything. That's the way I believe. These people are still wearing it after 3 years. So,
Well, Pops,
yeah.
StreamYards is draining the shit out my shit. I'm going to hop down and I'm going to watch you, all right?
All right. I appreciate you. And,
catch you later, my guy.
Hey, Exiled, anytime, man. And let me, do you have a channel, Exiled? I think I subscribed to you, right?
I don't really do nothing on this one.
Oh, all right. Well, if you want, drop a link in the chat for whatever channel you have. Anybody else has a channel, just drop your link in the chat. I ain't got no problem with people doing that. And, yeah, I mean, anybody else got any questions? Because I could end this show soon, unless you guys want to stay on here and talk about some stuff. I mean, anybody got something they want to bring up or come on here and start talking about something? I brought this Collins Elite thing to everybody's knowledge, just to kind of give you an idea. I did even more homework on it, but it was just too much for me to pump into people's brains. I wanted to make it simple and easy for everyone to understand, kind of. It's tinfoil talk with Pops. Well, it is tinfoil, but yeah, they thought Alex Jones was tinfoil, right? When he was telling everybody, hey, they're going to lock everybody in camps. They're going to tell you need a pass. They're going to tell you need this, or you're not going to be able to go to the store. You can't go in a restaurant. What did everybody think? Alex Jones was crazy, right? When he was screaming all that. Guess what? It's here. So who knows? And honestly, I don't know if any of this stuff is, true, but there's a lot of documentation about this Collins Elite. So they had to be investigating something. And why not investigate spiritual demons? I mean, why do we got to believe there's aliens, but we don't want to believe there's actual demons in the fallen? Why does the Book of Enoch, to some people, ridiculous, but then they'll believe there's other planets with alien life out there and they're going to come help us? I mean, come on. Let's get real. If there were aliens and they came and made us, why would they make a book that actually warns us against them and tells us that, don't trust these people, they're going to trick you? They wouldn't make a book like that. They wouldn't have made the Bible like something like, a superior being made this planet and made us, and, and he left and he'll come back one day. And that would be, they wouldn't tell you don't trust, and if there is an alien race, if you want to believe that, then you're saying there's no evil, which is impossible because there has to be some evil right now going down. I can't believe that the whole world is like this and there's no evil and people are being influenced. I can't believe mankind. I know we're evil. So we kill each other. I mean, mankind is evil, but I can't get out of my head how 220 countries could be on board with the same thing. I just can't. I can't get it out of my head. And Alexio, I'm waiting for the breadlines. So am I. I'm like, maybe that's what it's going to take for people to wake up. I don't know. They need to go through the Depression where they're all waiting in the soup kitchen for a little cup of soup and a piece of bread because there's no food, and people don't believe that the food supply lines are getting hit. Well, I don't know if you're aware, Russia controls a mineral. I forgot what it's called, like ammonia something, and they make fertilizer with it. And they just stopped shipping it, to the United States. They stopped. They put a ban on to ship it to us till May or June. And that's how we make fertilizer. So if the farmers don't have no fertilizer, their crops die. So if you don't think all this stuff is coming around, food shortage. I mean, I tell everybody they're going to drain our pockets first. So what they want to do is they want to hit us with the inflation on the food, right? So it's going to be, everything's going up because you can't get it transported and everything's going up. Beef is now $10 a pound for chopped meat and beef went up already 40%. They tell you the inflation's 7% because they inflate other numbers in there, like housing. If housing goes up in value, they put it into that thing. If housing didn't go up, they pull it out. Like petrol, gasoline. They said we're going to pay like $7 a gallon by the end of the year, maybe. So if we're paying $7 for a gallon of gas, everything has to go up. Everything gets transported with gas. They make fertilizer with petroleum. I mean, so get ready for the inflation through the roof. And then when that all hits, I think then they're going to really start food shortaging. You know, you're going to go, you're still going to be able to get food, but there's going to be not a lot on the shelves. And America may even need it. It'll put us on a diet because we're all, not all of us, but a lot of people are obese in this country. So no more pizza. You know. And what do we got here? Red Lectroids from Planet 10, by the way, of the 8th dimension. Haha. Yo, Hydro Hose, man, you should do your own show. Nobody will understand you, but you got a lot of fancy words. And Alexio says, I hope beautiful Ukraine woman refugees flood the U.S., fellas. Hey, that would be awesome, right? They should just send all the females from all the different countries here and leave the men back there. That's all. That would be good, you know. But I don't know. If we go to war, we're going to need men, right? Well, I guess women are joining the army too. They're actually, I think they can be drafted now. So, and all right. Well, anybody got any other questions? We can end this show soon. I don't see anybody else who wants to come on. I'll put the thing. Everybody's bashful. But let me see if I have any other questions. Partly cloudy. Cheers, Chatland. All right. I appreciate everybody coming though, showing your support. Eventually, we'll get there. We got to get somebody. We need people to, somebody to grow. I appreciate it, Mindy. And you were funny last night, man. You were making me laugh, Mindy. You were good. You were giving it to Tommy. I've had so many brawls with that guy on shows, and the guy's a good guy, but he's a little, he tries to be too smart. And they didn't approve the female draft. Oh, good. I didn't know about it. I wasn't sure. I know they were talking about it. I know Ron Paul was like saying, what are you, crazy? You can't be drafting girls. The moms are going to bug out. And I don't think, look, if a woman wants to join the army, fine, but I don't think they should be drafted. I mean, they're the mothers of children, so I think we still got to treat them like the mothers of our children. But if they want to go fight, that's up to them. Could you imagine all these soccer moms going, yeah, give me give me a weapon. I'm ready. I will take a hot Ukraine wife for a pair of American blue jeans. All right, Alexio, we're going to have a show with you with just your comments and stuff. Pretty funny. And all right, so I think this was a pretty good show. Just wanted to bring this to everybody's attention. I'm going to cut it short. We're on over an hour. No need to just drag this out. My next show, I'm going to have to think of another good subject. I always like to get them, as Uncle Gunny says, those tinfoil subjects, because they're interesting, even if true or not. But just look at what's going on and try to put the pieces of the puzzle together. And there's always something behind the curtain. Some people just believe this is the natural order of things. I believe it was sometimes, but I think it's way overkill right now. And I don't believe this is the natural order of things, So just everyone, I want to thank everybody for coming on. And, may the Almighty bless you and your family. And Pops out. And thank you.